Today is January 17th, 2018. All of us want to make the world a better place. But what exactly does that mean? What is it exactly that makes the world a better place? Is a world with the least amount of suffering the best possible world we could live in? If it is, then none of us should be here, because the more humans there are, the more suffering there is. A world with 7 billion humans contains 7 times as much suffering as a world with 1 billion humans. The less humans there are, the less suffering there will be. The only way for there to ever be no suffering in the world is if all sentient life went extinct. There would have to be no humans and no animals for there to be no suffering. As long as one conscious creature exists on Earth, it will inevitably suffer, at least a little bit. So what's really going on here? If the ideal world is not a world with the least total amount of suffering, then what is the ideal world? This is a fascinating question in metaethics. What makes us disapprove of certain actions? Why are we against abuse? Why are we against slavery? It certainly seems like suffering is a big part of it. If there were no humans or animals in the world, then no one could ever be abused or enslaved. But is this oversimplifying morality? What do you think? Antinatalism is a philosophy that says we shouldn't have children. Different antinatalists have different defenses for this view. Antinatalism is a moral position that says that it is morally preferable to never have been born. Antinatalists want the human species to go extinct, but they don't want anyone to commit suicide, and they don't want anyone to be killed. They simply want humans to stop reproducing so that we will peacefully die off in about 100 years. Many antinatalists extend this principle to all conscious animals. Their general line of thinking is that the suffering experienced in life, whether you're a human or a bear or a deer, is unacceptable, and that it would be better if all sentient life on Earth came to a peaceful end so that there will be no more suffering. Clearly, this is related to metaethics, utilitarianism, and the importance of avoiding suffering. Is a world with no suffering the ideal world? Is this what we should all desire? I've been analyzing the views of prominent antinatalists, such as David Benatar. David Benatar wrote a book called Better Never to Have Been. David Benatar has an interesting argument for antinatalism that he calls the asymmetry argument. You should let Benatar explain it to you himself, but to quickly summarize it, it says that it is actually preferable to never have been born because not only would you not suffer, but you would not be deprived of pleasure, because a non-existent person cannot be deprived of pleasure, because they don't even exist in the first place. Although I am not an antinatalist myself, I have yet to hear a sufficient refutation of this argument. How would you respond to Benatar's claim that a wise person would wish he never came into existence?